outside areas of expertise because FBI management was blind. They were blind to technical issues, and they didn't want to hear. As one of my bosses said to me, I don't want to hear that techno babble from you, that legalese from you. Well, we were forensic scientists, science to be used in the law, legalese. But he was poorly equipped to understand any of the issues I was raising and was a duck out of water.
Well, do you think it was just ignorance, or was it cynical that they didn't care, and they wanted to make their case and they didn't care what the facts were?
They can be all sorts of agendas, but let's take a very simple one. We have a crime. The President of the United States says we will leave no stone unturned, unmoved, okay? And when we catch those people, okay, that goes down to the Attorney General, it goes to the Director of the FBI, and they all parrot what they've heard. And they all have got to get their guy. And so they get their guy. And, when it has to do with a bomb coming out of the air, let's just get somebody of Arabic origin. Let's just get one. And I wrote a memo one time, and I said, sure, we're going to find an Arab fellow, and we're going to accuse him of this, whether he did it or not. And at the end of those allegations, we're going to take his life from him. We're going to put him in a Guantanamo Bay or something like that, okay? But the next airplane that comes out of the air, because that was not an air bombing, that was a mechanical failure, we're going to have to learn by killing 2 airplanes full of people instead of 1. But all the people that agreed to go along with the guy up top, all of them, well, they're going to get promoted. They're going to get, they'll get that fat retirement check, and they'll run for some office, or they'll be a director of some whatever, but they'll kill people that way. They will not secure the safety of this nation that way. They will refuse to answer, and so you end up with the messes we saw with the anthrax and the messes we saw with terrorism. And I know I've been present for screaming pitch battles between managers and 1 or 2 or 3 scientists that said this scientific data doesn't back this up. And so, as a kid told me one time, I have a doctorate in chemistry. He had an undergraduate degree in some area of social science. He said, we'll replace you with a bright high school kid who will go along with the rest of the team if we have to. Okay, well, they replaced me.
Well, you beat me to my question, because I was going to say, you were writing memos like that, and was anybody else around you being that objecting like you were, or was it just you? There were 30 people who came forward when the Inspector General, came forward and voiced their positions when the Inspector General started looking at it. There were 30 people, if not more. There were some mid-level managers that testified for the U.S. Senate, U.S. Congress, just said what they believed. Dr. Drew Richardson said, the use of controlled question testing polygraph at the FBI is like reading tea leaves. And I'm sitting there in the Senate hearing room, and I'm saying, wait a minute, this is my hearing for my whistleblowing USOB. And there, and I hope he's listening too, because I've told him this before. But I said, okay, well, go ahead, because he got his PhD in psychophysiology. I'm not sure what that is, but the FBI paid for it, and then he said the polygraph doesn't work the way we're practicing it. It's like reading tea leaves. No, people knew, people agreed, and when they had a chance, when they were forced to testify under oath before the Inspector General, Mike Bromwitz's group, they said, now there's one of them who's a dear friend of mine that said, I agree with the message, but not the messenger. There had to have been another way to fix this. Well, there wasn't. There just wasn't. And so somebody had to take a bullet in the head, and I just said, well, I'll take a bullet in the head. And what was the straw that broke the camel's back for you? Now, did you become a whistleblower while active duty FBI or after you retired?
The thing that was disappointing to me in the FBI,
I had held the FBI in highest regard. And I was in the FBI about 20 minutes. And I hadn't even gone to Quantico yet. And we walked into a room, and this will sound very naive to you, but we walked into this room, and we all got together, and all of those in class 82-1 or 82-3, whatever we were. And they wanted us to sign in as if we got there at 6:30 in the morning. And it was 9 o'clock. And I thought, you know what? This is sort of like stealing. It's like lying. Well, that's kind of naive. You know, everybody in government lies anyhow, and we all know it. But gradually in the field, I saw this is not what I thought. You know, this is still my family. And for about 4 years in the field, I said, okay, well, you know what? There are bigger things. There's bigger fish to fry. These minor criminal acts of stealing from your travel voucher and signing in that you got here at 6 in the morning when it's 8:30 when you get in front of the register, that sort of thing. Okay. I guess we got bigger fish to fry. But when I got to the crime lab, I said, well, you know, I don't care about how many fish you're going to fry. You know, I'm not tolerating this anymore. I have the direct orders from executive order that said we had to report fraud, waste, abuse, and corruption to the appropriate authority. And then the FBI ordered us, their little documents, or, you know, their orders say, report any indication of misconduct. And so I started doing it. That was in the fall of 1986. There are issues. I don't understand them. Maybe I'm wrong about what I'm looking at. My colleagues around me who were good, moral guys agreed, yep, but there's nothing we can do about this. But we can't do anything to fix this. And it seemed kind of bad to me. Kind of, you know, and again, it's naive, but, you know, you go on you get on an airplane, you go someplace on a mission, and you come back and you turn in a voucher for what you spent, and somebody says, no, you got to take the maximum money. So I braced at that I didn't spend that money. That's stealing. So the way the FBI solved that was for every one of my vouchers I had to write on them, reimbursement is requested only for expenditures incurred. Every one of my vouchers I had to request permission not to lie. Well, you know, that's fraud against the government, but you know it only comes to millions and millions and millions of dollars of American taxpayers' money every year, but that doesn't matter to the FBI or the investigators. Nobody investigates them. But when I saw things wrong in the lab itself and saw this is directly affecting people's lives. FBI agents pocketing money they shouldn't be pocketing is one thing. But when we're coming up with results that are not supported by the data, that we don't understand the uncertainty of what we've got. I talked it to the guys in my unit, and most of them were straight shooters. But they'd already talked it to other people, and they just saw that nothing was going to happen. Well, there was a solution to that, and the solution was report fraud, waste, abuse, and corruption to the appropriate authority. And nobody at that time defined appropriate authority. So I reported to my boss's boss, my boss's boss's boss, and I come right on up the channel until it got to the U.S. Senate. And, oh, darn, you know, if you tell your boss and give him 6 months to fix it and he doesn't fix it and you tell his boss, you incur the wrath of your immediate boss. So you get this whole chain of management that hates your guts. And, okay, so what do they do about it? Well, what they do about it is put you in a corner, send you for what they call a fitness for duty evaluation so they can take your gun away from you so you can't be an agent, so they have to fire you. And so they sent me to the shrink and the psychiatrist. And frankly, the psychiatrist came back with this evaluation. I don't remember the order of the adjectives, but I was a narcissistic, obsessive, compulsive perfectionist, or something to that effect. I don't know. Oh my gosh! So,
well, no wonder we get along. Huh? No wonder we get along.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm continually asking though, did I get it wrong? What am I not seeing? I went to general counsel and I said,
I got a problem. These guys are rewriting my reports, and they're altering evidence, and they're testing about stuff they don't know anything about. And the lady said to me, if you just understood the law. And so I said, well, okay. She says, this is. So I applied got a seat at Georgetown, went for 4 years at night while I was an FBI agent during the daytime. And when I graduated, I went back to the same lady, and she said, you got to practice law. What you get in law school is just theory. So now I practice law. And you know what? I still can't figure out why people think that they should lie in a court of law. I can't figure that out, especially FBI agents. I don't know. I probably hold them to a higher standard, probably too much of a standard. But I still don't get it anyhow.
Well, besides like the psych evaluation and trying to take your gun away, and was there like rank and file, like you didn't hang out with the other guys and you didn't get along with the other guys, that kind of stuff too?
No, I didn't. I didn't push people away from me.
Okay, good.
I have very, very good friends at the FBI. That, in fact, and we had long discussions, even once it hit the news in '95. One of my fellow scientists at the lab, Chris Fiedler, who passed away recently, he said, Fred, the veil of culpability spread too far. You got a tiger by the tail. It's not going to let you go. Because everybody up the chain knew what was happening in the lab. Goodness gracious. They all knew all the way up the chain. And so, no, I got along fine with the guys I was working with.
Okay, now, did you ever run across any guys that were like really rogue agents, like, stealing evidence and, shaking down, taking bribes, anything like that?
You say, did I see that sort of thing?
Yeah.
No, sir. No, there was, travel vouchers, time and attendance sheets, minor kind of, but whatever, you're still a damn thief. Excuse me, you're still a thief, okay?
Yeah.
But shaking people down, no, that's. I remember as a new agent, I was in Houston, and I went into a house with a training agent, and we were looking for this couple's son, and they were just folks. And they sat there on their sofa. It was a little ranchette. I was brand new, and they sat there on their sofa, and they were crying, and I was sitting there with them, and just 35 years old myself, and I was trying to comfort them. And the other agent went through the house looking for the son, and they gave him permission, and he didn't come back after a while. And I went in, and he had tossed the whole house. I mean, he pulled stuff out of drawers. He'd gone and thrown stuff out of that. And I said, man, you're looking for a human being. There's no human being in the drawer. Hey, they gave me permission to search. I'm looking. Mm-hmm. And I went, wow. Wow. But they weren't shaking people down. It was just very, very disappointing. These are human beings that we're dealing with. But as a regular thing, no, I didn't see that.
What about like wiretaps without warrants and stuff like that?
No. I had a friend that came upon warrantless wiretap and tried to tell a judge about it, and he was an FBI agent. And when the judge blurted it out about 3 years later, they ran him out of the bureau for doing that. But I didn't see wireless wiretap. Warrantless wiretap. That wasn't. I was disappointed maybe by what you might consider small stuff, stealing money from your travel voucher.
Well,
and I know I keep mentioning that, but it's still stealing.
Yeah, well, and lying in court, I don't consider that a small stuff at all.
Oh, well, that's right. Testifying behind your expertise, you don't know what you're talking about, and you're talking about it. There was one gentleman that testified with a background in social sciences, testified aeronautical engineering, aircraft structural analysis, forensic pathology, fire and arson investigation analysis, chemical analysis, and metallurgy. And he had no background in any of those.
Really?
Forensic pathology. No background in any of those. Where the inspector general asked him, well, where'd you get your expertise? Let's try